Good evening, everybody. Molweni. We are aware that we are slightly behind time. We really apologize for the delay in starting. So without much ado, we will go straight into our program. The Honorable MEC Sibulele Ngongo, Archbishop Dr. Thabo Makgoba, members of council, the executive management of the university, in particular the VC in attendance here, Dr. Thabo Makgoba, DVC Feza and DVC Lennington, members of the senior management, senior academics, distinguished guests, colleagues, students, and friends of Walter Sisulu University. Allow me to set the tone by briefly reflecting on what brings us here. This evening, Walter Sisulu University gathers not only in ceremony, but in conscience. In that fragile, necessary space where thought meets responsibility and memory leans gently toward hope. We come together under the luminous name of Archbishop Thabo Makgoba, a moral voice whose witness has never mistaken volume for vision. His public life reminds us that in a restless republic, the most enduring leadership is often quiet, steady, and courageously attentive to the dignity of the unseen. This lecture, therefore, is not simply an academic ritual. It is an ethical summons. For universities such as ours, born from the long shadow of struggle and sustained by the stubborn dreams of ordinary people, knowledge can never be innocent of its social obligations. We know, perhaps more intimately than most, that education must do more than sharpen the intellect. It must soften the heart, widen the moral imagination, and steady the hand of democratic responsibility. And yet, we meet at a time of unsettling paradox. South Africa is constitutionally luminous, yet socially anxious, rich in voice, yet fragile in trust, full of youthful promise, yet haunted by structural impatience. The distance between freedom imagined and freedom lived still asks difficult questions of us all. It is precisely here, in this trembling in-between, that the Archbishop Thabo Makgoba lecture finds its deepest relevance. It invites us to listen beyond the noise of the moment, to hear the human pulse beneath policy, the ethical murmur beneath power, the unfinished work beneath our national self-congratulation. May this evening renew in us the courage to think with care, to lead with humility, and to build patiently, deliberately, and together the just society that still waits on our collective imagination. It is then on that note that I invite the Vice Chancellor and Principal of Walter Sisulu University, Dr. Thabo Makgoba, to welcome us and also do some acknowledgements. VC.
Your Grace, the Archbishop Thabo Makgoba, and the Honorable MEC Sibulele Ngongo, distinguished guests amongst us, members of council, those they may join us online, colleagues, students, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. And welcome to Walter Sisulu University. Archbishop, we gather on this sacred day of the Christian calendar, on Ash Wednesday, a day that marks the beginning of Lent. It is a day of humility. It is a day of reflection and renewal. A day that calls us to examine our conscience, not only as individuals, but as institutions and as a society. Although you are not with us in person today, we are deeply honored to welcome you and your esteemed wife as in this lecture. We extend our warmest greetings. On this Ash Wednesday, the symbolism is powerful. It reminds us that transformation begins with introspection, but culminates in action. The mission of the Development Trust, the Thabo Makgoba Development Trust, addressing poverty, inequality, and unemployment through education, skills development, entrepreneurship, health awareness, mentorship for youth and women, speaks directly to the lived realities of our province and our country. It is the work that restores dignity, expands opportunity, and builds resilience. At Walter Sisulu University, this mission aligns profoundly with our own. As a university rooted in the Eastern Cape, a province of immense potential and deep historical significance, as Professor Ndlovu has mentioned, we recognize that education must be transformative, must be relevant, and it must be socially responsive. We as a university are committed to nurturing graduates who are not only employable but entrepreneurial, not only skilled but ethical, and not only ambitious but community-minded. We are privileged this evening to welcome the Honorable MEC Sibulele Ngongo, umkhaya wam. We thank you for joining us and for your leadership in the Eastern Cape Department of Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture. Your presence just confirms the critical role of culture, heritage, sport, and the creative economy in addressing youth unemployment, but also for social cohesion and community development. We appreciate your partnership and your commitment to expanding opportunity for our young people. Tonight's lecture challenges us to strengthen collaboration between faith and scholarship, between government and universities, between entrepreneurs and youth. It challenges us to build ecosystems of mentorship and enterprise that move our province from inequality towards inclusive growth. A great example of this kind of partnership is where we are located right now at Legends. It's a partnership with Treasure between entrepreneurship and the university. May this evening inspire deeper reflection, courageous dialogue, and renewed commitment to social justice and opportunity. It is my honor to welcome you all to the Archbishop Makgoba annual lecture. Thank you.
Thank you very much, VC. Let us swiftly move on with our program. The next item would be the background of Archbishop Thabo Makgoba Development Trust, the ATMDT. I believe it is the Archbishop who will talk to us about the item. Archbishop, it is over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Let me start first by apologizing that I am unable to be with you. Umanala Mandogose, my wife, was hoping to join you when you were going to be in Amtata, possibly for other reasons, because her aunts and everyone is down in Port St. John's, but when it changed, her logistics didn't work. And as the VC said, it is Ash Wednesday, but because this lecture is so important, I swapped with a colleague and I did the 1:15 service of Ash Wednesday at the cathedral, so that I am exempted from doing the 6 o'clock Ash Wednesday tonight. But it is an honor to be associated with the Walter Sisulu University. And so I would like to stand under the protocol that you have highlighted, Principal and Vice Chancellor Dr. Thandi Mgwebi, members of the University Council, our esteemed guest speaker, MEC Sibulele Ngongo, the Deputy Vice Chancellors, the Deans, and our esteemed guests and students, friends, and ladies and gentlemen. But before I continue, I want to especially recognize Viv Lennington. And some of you may not know, Viv and I taught teachers at the Johannesburg College of Education many years ago, before I was called to be an archbishop. And it is good to know that Viv still continues in the field of education. So, Dr. Mgwebi, we are delighted to be working with you and look forward to a fruitful ongoing partnership. The Sisulus are very dear to my heart, being Anglicans themselves. I was privileged to preside over the funeral of Mama Sisulu and most of the Sisulu families. So this partnership it's not transactional, or it's not coincidental, but it struck deep in my heart. And I trust that the team has already given you a sense of who we are at Dr. Mgwebi and what we seek to achieve as a trust. But my task this evening is a simple one, to share briefly the story of the Archbishop Thabo Makgoba Development Trust and how it came into being. The trust is governed by 4 trustees currently: Dr. Louisa Mujela, Dr. Gloria Serobe, Mrs. Lungela Makgoba, and myself. The other trustee retired. So the Makgoba family, together with the trustees, established the trust in 2012 as a modest grant-making body born out of a desire to respond meaningfully to some of the enduring legacies of our past. Its origins lie in the very real and often urgent needs that are brought to me daily by individuals and community initiatives who write to me in my capacity as Archbishop, or who come to the gates of Bishop's Course where we live and knock at the door seeking assistance. These lived realities have shaped both the trust funding strategies and its approach to grant making. Our work is guided, as the program director said, by three legacy areas: food security, social justice, and education. And so over the past 14 years, the Trust has been able to make a meaningful impact by supporting individuals, institutions, and communities as they pursue their educational and developmental aspirations, particularly those facing financial hardship. So this evening's lecture falls squarely within the education legacy. It forms part of a series of lectures in 9 institutions supported by the Trust, hosted here, as well as at the University of Limpopo, Rhodes University, University of Mpumalanga, University of the Western Cape, University of Fort Hare, Nelson Mandela University, the National University of Lesotho, and the University of Eswatini. And so without further ado, I hand you over to those directly responsible for this evening's proceedings, and thank you for joining us. My sincere appreciation goes to our esteemed speaker and to you, Dr. Mgwebi, and the university for partnering with the Trust in creating and sustaining this important platform for dialogue. Thank you all, and may God bless you and this institution and all who are part of it. And as I always say, God loves you, and so do I. Thank you, Program Director.
Archbishop, for that background. It really epitomizes the work that is being done. So the next item on our agenda, colleagues, is a message of support from a council member. I was not privy to the name. I do hope that we have a council representative. It looks like we do not. Okay, so we will pass that item and then move on to the introduction of the speaker. So if this was a song, I would say we are getting closer to the chorus. So let's move on to the introduction of the speaker, and this will be done by Dr. Nkgato Tlale, who is our DVC Institutional Support and Development. DVC. Okay, on the program, apologies for that, it is what I said. However, I'm told there's been a change. So this will be now done by our DVC Teaching and Learning Professor Margaret Linnington. DVC.
Thank you, Program Director, and apologies for that. MEC, Ms. Ngongo, Your Grace Archbishop, I must thank you for recognizing my stepmother, Viv. I will pass her your greetings on to her. And it's nice to see you again.
Thank you.
Vice Chancellor, members of Council, DVC Tlale, students, members of EMC, deans, all protocol observed. It's my huge honor to actually introduce our guest speaker, the Honorable MEC Sibulele Ngongo, who is the MEC of the Departments of Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture within the Eastern Cape Government. The Honorable Sibulele Ngongo is a dynamic and dedicated public leader with extensive experience in local government, and as well as community engagement. As the current MEC for Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture, she is committed to advancing the interests of previously disadvantaged groups and fostering sustainable development in the sector. Her professional experience includes serving as a Deputy Director in the MEC's private office at the Eastern Cape Department of Health and various roles at Nyandeni local municipality. The Honourable Ngongo is actively involved in politics, holding positions such as the PEC and the PWC member of the ANC Youth League in the Eastern Cape and Regional Executive Committee member of the ANC. The Honourable Ngongo is also well educated with a BTech degree with additional certificates in management, local economic development and conflict management and resolution. She holds an honours degree in public administration and is currently pursuing a master's degree in public administration. She is currently a member of the NEC of the South African Youth Council. And with no further ado, I would like to give her a warm round of applause.
Thank you so much, Prof, for such an introduction. Greetings to the program director himself, the members of the council present, the Vice Chancellor of WSU, Mkhayam, Dr. Thandi Mgwebi, and all the DVCs present. A special greetings to the Bishop himself and his wife as they are joining us virtually. Greetings to the leadership of the ATMDT, the student leadership from the university, ladies and gentlemen, our esteemed guests, senior officials from the Buffalo City Metro, I can see one just in front of me. Ladies and gentlemen who are joining us virtually and in social media platforms, good evening. As we gather today, allow me to express my deep appreciation for the opportunity to hopefully make a meaningful contribution in this exchange of ideas in pursuit of nation building. Imandi ke into basekhaya uvela ubizwe kwaXhamela apho nawe wawuqhonqwe khona. You always feel so warm and comfortable. So I feel so comfortable to be here. Program Director, allow me to begin with my warmly congratulations in congratulating and acknowledging the newly appointed Vice Chancellor of WSU, Dr. Kesim Tatengapa, Nelson Mandela, Sakonda Makaze Up, Azosherisha Nati. Nathi sike si experience uthando lukamama. VC, while this may be the first time we are meeting in our official capacities, we did have the pleasure of crossing paths during the December festivities. It is therefore a privilege to now engage in a formal setting as we collectively advance the work of this great institution. In our appointment, it has marked to us not only a personal milestone, but an important moment for Walter Sisulu University and for higher education in our province. We wish you strength, wisdom, and bold leadership in steering the university forward in pursuit of excellence. I also wish to commend the Council of Walter Sisulu University for its deliberate and progressive leadership. The appointment of women vice-chancellors for 2 consecutive terms is not by chance. It reflects intentional transformation and confidence in women's leadership at the highest level. Indeed, this is transformation in action. Xa intleke iyanconywa kwaye ibukeka kakuhle. Siyayibuka. Ingase nezinye institutions zingayibuka le nto yenziwa yiCouncil yase-WSU. An opportunity briefly to reflect on the contribution and leadership role of women in a society that has still not fully accepted them for who they truly are and what they are capable of. Put differently, the role of women in a society that is deeply entangled by patriarchy. This to be done under the theme, Women and Resilience, Perspectives from Leadership. My understanding of the theme is that we are to interrogate the emancipation of women in today's world. Not only just women, also young women in a changing world where they have the burden of leadership. Whilst acknowledging that world is structured along patriarchal lines, I must also state that not all patriarchal societies are the same, and the oppression of women in various formations differs based on the economic and political differences of those societies. For example, patriarchy will manifest differently in advanced capitalist societies to traditional rural societies where economies are structured differently. Patriarchy has not always existed and can also be dismantled. I must say that it is not entirely possible to reflect on today's struggles or challenges faced by women without looking back at South Africa's history. Maybe even a brief look into our understanding of gendered roles that the entire world would have attempted to prescribe for our men. In the defiance of these prescribed roles, I do think that the resilience part of our theme will also reflect. It is common knowledge that South Africa has a history of colonialism. Colonialism we defined as a special type because we occupied the same land as our colonizers. Deeply embedded in this was the oppression and exploitation of blacks in general and Africans in particular. A strong feature of this history is the use of violence as an enforcer or an enabler by the oppressors. It is also generally accepted that women in South Africa were triply oppressed. Oppressed in terms of race, oppressed in terms of gender and class. This meant that they are severely marginalized, subjecting them to poverty, little or no political activism, violence, and. We have accepted that race meant the use of color or pigmentation to intentionally and systematically exclude a group of people. I stress systematically because of late we have seen attempts to distort what we mean by racism. Gender is a creation by societies to order the roles of men and women, and it is bound up with political and economic objectives. Siyayazi sonke apha ukuba omama bebesaya kujongelwa ukupheka nokuzala kuphela. Nasesikolweni xa ifika ku-standard 3 ukuyotsho ku-standard 6 bekuba khona into ethi sefunde kakhulu futhi uvutshiwe ngoku angayokwenda. Yiyo loo nto besibona ixesha elininzi phaa emampondweni abantwana bethwalwa kwaye ii-families zingaboni into irongo kuloo nto kungenxa yokuba sithetha ngale ngxaki esijongene nayo siyi-society. Jongelwa phantsi kwabantu abangoomama. Gender is constructed socially and identifies the relationship between men and women in the context of power relations. Gender is not natural or God-given, but it is created by society through socialization using institutions such as the family, the church and religion, school and education, and the state and laws. Gender relations can therefore be changed by the very same society that has created them. Gender roles exist in all spheres of society, starting with the division of labor in families. Women are allocated the role of being child-bearers and are given the duties of cleaning and cooking. In fact, women are allocated the tasks of domestic chores as if it were natural for them to have to do this. This work is hidden and not paid for. It is not registered as work within the tools that we use to analyze the working of the economy, such as in gross domestic product, the GDP figures. From these gender roles, certain characteristics are expected of men that are a reflection of what it means to be male or to be masculine, while other characteristics are attributed to women as a reflection of their femininity. The notions of masculinity and femininity define how men and women must behave and how they must look. They refer to physical appearance, psychological states, sexual orientations, intellectual capability, and emotional states. For example, men are supposed to be natural leaders, decision makers, and providers in society, beginning within the family, while women are the caregivers, supporters, and followers of them. As I step off on the gendered roles, I must part by saying that it is not only women that must be freed from these roles. Men also must be freed from the chains of patriarchy and be made to appreciate a better world where men and women live side by side as equals. Since the ushering in of the democratic dispensation, much work has been done to recognize the capabilities of women. We have seen an increasing number of women occupying leadership positions in strategic institutions. We now have the first woman to be appointed as Chief Justice. We have had the first woman to be Deputy President of the country. WSU has had more than one VC as women and its ISRCs. However, our maturing democracy is yet to have a woman president. In spite of this progress, I fear that moral fiber of our value system of our society is being eroded. This, coupled with a society that still carries a value system entrenched on looking down on women, a society that has different standards for male and females. When we as women make errors, the judgment is much harsher, and it is associated with our bodies. Abafazi kanene banjalo, uyive ithethwa, futhi kungekho sazela. Yet when it is males, the faults are generally accepted as genuine shortfalls and are hardly linked nesitho sakhe umuntu. This inadvertently places a much bigger responsibility on those women who have been given the responsibility to lead, whilst we must acknowledge the sacrifices and gains made by the giants, Omama Albertina Sulu, Omama Adelaide Tambo, Sophia Williams, the brain. Those shoulders we stand on, we must also be fully conscious that our conduct has the potential to unlock many barriers. Every sacrifice, every step gained, and every bit of success by women in leadership should be to ensure that there is an emancipation of future generations. As we pursue this better world, we must know that there is no society or group of people that has developed without placing education and innovation at the center of its strategy. This is particularly important for leadership. We must always seek to better ourselves. This will ensure that we apply scientific measures to address our socio-economic challenges. It is only an educated society with innovative methods that will be able to fight gender-based violence and femicide. It is only through improved consciousness that men will stop seeing women's bodies as their crime scene. Only a conscious society fully appreciates the destructive nature of gender-based violence and femicide on our families and communities. As we educate our young girls and women in general, we must also challenge ourselves to improve our appreciation for the TVET sector. This is important in a country that is battling with unemployment. Recent figures indicate that the youth is the most affected sector of our community. The skills gained at these institutions enable our people to be employment creators than being job seekers. In closing, VC, young women from working class backgrounds have it the hardest. They have far more hurdles to cross in pursuit of a better world. However, you have the skills and talent to make it. Omama uMandisamaya, omama uPhumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka, yimizekelo esaphilayo ukuba with enough dedication and commitment, we surely can make it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Honorable MEC. I had planned to say a few words in response, but I realized I might mar your beautiful delivery, and therefore I think I would rather leave it there and let it sink, because that's precisely what you wanted us to do. Not only to listen, but to hear. That it's an uphill struggle for women in general, but in particular, women in leadership. And I think men, including myself, heard what you said, and I hope they listened. And I think you painted the future for us, that if we have an educated society, but not only educated, but an empathetic society, a society in which we are all able to put ourselves in others' shoes, irrespective of what they are called in terms of gender. I think this is what you are taking us through. A society where we see each other in our full human capacities and representations. So having said that, we now move on to the penultimate item on the program. I see here it says announcement of winners and reading of abstracts or summary by adjudicators, and the responsible person there is Dr. Anthony Masha, who is a senior lecturer at Komani campus. I'm not so sure if we are waiting for someone in the room or online. Okay, let's wait for our colleague to come on online.
We are on. All right. Good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am zooming in from Komani campus, Grey Street campus to be specific. I could not make it to East London where the competition, where the memorial lecture is taking place. My duty is to announce the 3 winners of the essay competition that comes with this annual lecture. So Dr. Makgoba, the Archbishop, has been so generous to offer 10,000 rand to 3 students to write an essay, and as a result, we make an announcement that the competition that is available for all 3rd year and final students. The essays are then adjudicated. It's a rigorous process because we receive quite an enormous number of essays being entered into this competition. Every year, after the winners are announced, they are rewarded monetarily, sometimes also with a book from the Archbishop, his book, and they're also taken for a writing retreat where they are given a 3-day workshop on how to write academically and improve on their essays, which normally leads to an accredited article published in DH accredited journals. This has been the trend, and we hope to go on with this trend moving forward. Today, I'm happy to announce that after a rigorous process, we have our 3 winners who are listening to you online. They are shy to speak, so they'll not be able to speak. They come from various fields in Umtata campus: social sciences and sciences. Interestingly, they are all females. We always receive enormous numbers of female entrants, and judging also from the females who always graduate in our different sites during graduation ceremonies. Guest speaker today, you'll be happy to be informed that females are making headways here at Walter Sisulu University. The marks that the 3 winners have received are not necessarily very far apart from one another. They have all scored above 70%, and the marks are 77, 75, and 74. Guest speaker, Archbishop, our VC, and guests in attendance, allow me please to announce our winners for this competition, and to also announce the amount of money that they all received from Mrs. Hendricks' office. At number 1, we have Olwetu Kaba, who takes home 5,000 rand. Olwetu takes home 5,000 rand with a 77% pass in her essay. Bachelor of Social Work, Umtata. Lindy Swachomela takes home 3,000 rand with 75%. And with a tiny margin in the Bachelor of Medical Sciences, not medicine, but medical sciences, is Yanga Fekade with 74%. I've personally volunteered over the years and will continue to do so to take them for a writing retreat in East London at the Phyllis Ntantala Library. And you're welcome to view past articles that have been published through these winners. These winners end up becoming tutors, junior lecturers, etc., etc. And I've always, as I said, they are usually all women. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Archbishop, Dr. Makgoba, and the Trust in general, and all the stakeholders of Walter Sisulu for allowing this competition to take place and for allowing the winners to be rewarded monetarily and otherwise. From me, in Komani campus, from my office, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Doc. You know, I'm supposed to be neutral, actually. However, the first prize winner, if you listened carefully, comes from the social work department. Now, the executive dean of that, of the faculty where that department is, happens to be somebody who some people know. It is I. But well done to the three of them. It really shows the resilience, Honorable MEC, that you were talking about. It's really never easy. But I think with a change of attitude and a change in other social structures, we'll achieve the kind of society that we need where gender is not a burden. I think we're getting to the end, but on the program, it says reply from award recipient, but Dr. Masha said that the students are shy. I think we need to introduce a little resilience there. Are all of them unable to speak? Can I challenge at least one of them to say something for a minute, if it is possible? If it isn't, we will make a plan to make sure they are not as shy as they are at the moment. So, we are moving on to the last item. Time flies, doesn't it? You can hardly believe that this is the end of the program. But here we are. So we will get a vote of thanks this time, indeed, from TVC Klale.
Program Director, Prof. Thabisani Ndlovu, Grace Archbishop Thabo Makgoba and your wife, Honorable MEC Sibulele Ngongo, Council members present and online, Vice Chancellor of Walter Sisulu University, Dr. Tandim Gwebu, members of the executive management. I see Prof. Linington. I see the CFO as well. Okay, and Mr. Mnyaiza. Senior official from Buffalo City, academics, staff, students, alumni, distinguished guests present and online. Firstly, I'd like to appreciate the program director for a job well done and for directing the program with grace. I think he deserves an applaud. Archbishop Makgoba, the university values your partnership and the partnership with your trust. You are a moral compass. You are a voice of the voiceless. You are an advocate for a fair society, justice and equal rights. We also appreciate the prizes that have been given for the competition for abstracts for students. I think the Archbishop deserves a well round of applause. Thank you. MEC Sibulele Ngongo, we express our sincere gratitude for accepting the invitation to provide the keynote, for making us reflect, reconsider our views, and think more critically about the role of women in society. Some of the things that you touched on is patriarchy that can be dismantled. I think we often forget that as males. Effect of colonization on women, cultural effects on women, gender as a construct of a society, examples of women who have been very successful in society, and stigmatization of females, especially when they are trying to go up the corporate ladder, and science-based empowerment of females, something that needs to be pursued. Please, can we give a round of applause to the Honorable MEC? I'd like to acknowledge the marketing and communication team that put this event together. Thank you for your hard work. It's seen. I'd like to, a round of applause, colleagues. We had to change the venue from Mthatha to here at a very short notice, and they did the magic. Dr. Anthony Masha, thank you for the presentation of winners and reading of the abstracts. To the winners, thank you as well. To the service providers who provided the venue. I'm not sure there's catering outside after this. Yeah. Catering, and there was a band that was playing music when we came in. Thank you very much for that. I'd like to appreciate the audience for taking your time. You could have been doing something else, but you came here to this lecture and spent the time with us. And with that, I'd like to thank you all. Good night, and there's refreshments outside. Thank you.
Yeah, just a second, please. Well, and just like that, we have come to the end of this most edifying lecture. Our audience has been fantastic, and all of us have been thanked. Regarding refreshments, here is the request. Could we allow the Honorable MEC and University Management to dish up first? They will then proceed to sit somewhere, and then the rest of us, we can then partake of what is in store. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Safe travels, those who are traveling.